Hello grade 3s and welcome back to WorksheetCloud. Welcome to your grade 3 English lesson for today, and I hope you've had a lovely day so far and that you're ready to learn with me again. If there are any things during the lesson or after the lesson that you didn't understand, or if you have any questions, you can just ask mommy or daddy to send an email to grade3@worksheetcloud.com. We will try and answer your questions as quickly as possible. Now, this is the first time that you are watching a lesson with us. If you have never seen me before, my name is Teacher Taryn, and today we're going to look at similes together. Now, similes are something very creative and very interesting that we can use either in our own stories or our own writing, or maybe that you might see in a book while you are reading. Now, there are lots of similes that exist in the world, and we definitely won't be able to cover or learn all about them today, but we are going to look at a few that might pop up in grade 3, or some of those that you might be able to use in your stories. So similes are used to compare things. So we can look at one thing and compare it to something else that we might see around us, in nature or in the world. They are not literal. That means that we are not saying that you are something. We are just comparing it and saying it is like something else. It helps to use our imagination because we can imagine these things around us, or we can create a picture in our minds as to what it might look like. And it makes our writing creative or interesting, and that would help the reader to stay engaged or interested in our story. So let's have a look at our first simile for the day. We're going to look at as sly as a fox. Now this just means sly is another way to say sneaky. So here you can see the fox, and he's got a few feathers around him, and I think he has been quite sneaky to go and hunt some birds or some chickens. So a sly fox would sneak up and try and catch something without someone else knowing. So if we are saying that you are as sly as a fox, it just means that you are very good at sneaking up. As quiet as a mouse. Now, if you think about how quietly a mouse can run, you won't even hear a mouse if it ran past you, in front of you on the floor. So if you are as quiet as a mouse, it means that you are very quiet. We can say you have to be as quiet as a mouse while your teacher is teaching you. As brave as a lion. And you can imagine how brave a lion has to be if it's going to chase after its prey, or if it's going to run after another animal, or if it's going to fight another lion. So if you are very brave, we can say that you are as brave as a lion. Our next simile is as proud as a peacock. And here you can see the picture of the peacock and all the feathers of the peacock behind him. Normally, when a peacock displays its feathers like this behind him, he's trying to show off. Now, it's not good for us to show off, but if you do something that you are proud of, you can be as proud as a peacock. Like if you win a race and you win a medal, you put a medal around your neck and you stand on the podium, you can stand on that podium as proud as a peacock and display your medal with pride. Now, as strong as an ox. Now, an ox is an animal, and this animal can pull very heavy things. So if you are as strong as an ox, it means that either you can pull or you can pick up heavy things. So if you had to pick up a very heavy box, we could say you are as strong as an ox picking up that box. As light as a feather. And you can imagine how light a feather must be if the wind is able to pick it up and blow it around, and it can move very easily. So if you pick up something very light, not heavy, you can say that it is as light as a feather. Okay, our next simile is as flat as a pancake. So if you roll out some dough and you want to make bread, or if you want to bake something and you have to roll that dough out very thin, you can say it is as flat as a pancake. Our next simile, as cool as a cucumber. And that is what a cucumber looks like. And did you know that the inside of a cucumber is very cool or very cold? So even on a very hot day, doesn't matter what the temperature is, the inside of the cucumber will stay cold or cool. So we say that you are as cool as a cucumber if you don't get very stressed or very flustered, if something around you is busy making you frustrated or angry, that you stay as cool as a cucumber under pressure. As old as the hills. Now you can imagine how old the hills around you must be. And you can say that something is as old as the hills if it is very old. As fast as lightning. Now just imagine how fast that lightning is when there's a storm and you can't really even see it, you just see a very fast spark. So if something is very fast, you can say it is as fast as lightning. So if someone is a very fast runner and you run in a race and that person wins, you could say that boy was as fast as lightning and that's why he won his race. As busy as a bee. Now this is one that you might have heard before because your teacher might say that all her students in her class are as busy as a bee today while they are busy working. As wise as an owl. Now normally in stories or in fairy tales or fables, the owl is quite an old or a wise character. So if you make good choices, if you make good decisions, or you think very hard about what you want to do, then you are very wise. So you could say that you are as wise as an owl. As bright as a button. Now this could either mean that you are very bright or very colorful and not very dull. So if you wear a very bright dress, you could say that you look as bright as a button today. But you could also use it if someone is very clever, if they've done something very clever, you could say that you are as bright as a button. As free as a bird. Now you can imagine how free birds must feel that they have the choice to fly wherever they want to fly. So as free as a bird means that if you can run on a field and you don't have to stop and you can just keep going, you could say, I feel as free as a bird while I'm running on this field. As clean as a whistle. Now you would hope that every time that you use or you blow a whistle that you would clean it afterwards. And normally a whistle is made out of a metal that if you clean it very well would shine. And if something is very clean, then it is very shiny. So you could say this countertop in the kitchen is as clean as a whistle. Okay, so we're going to read through a little story, and this story is 2 paragraphs. And in the story, there are quite a lot of similes. So I'm going to read the story and you're going to follow along. And then while I'm reading, see if you can find any of these similes or any new similes that you might hear. Look for the word like and as, and that might give you a clue. So follow along while I read. It was the beginning of the year. Mark hopped out of his bed, as frightened as a mouse. His room was as dirty as a pigsty, and his mom had told him to clean it. He had slept like a log last night, but he realized he was late. He would have to get ready as fast as lightning so that he wasn't late for school. Once he had put his new uniform on, he was as proud as a peacock. It was his first day at his new school, and he was going to be as brave as a lion. Mark's new teacher was as wise as an owl. She told the class they would have to be as quiet as a mouse while she was teaching. That day, Mark was as busy as a bee in his class. He loved his first day of school. Okay, so let's have a look from the beginning if we can see any similes. I'm going to read it again, then I'm going to stop as soon as I find one. It was the beginning of the year. Mark hopped out of his bed as frightened as a mouse. As frightened as a mouse means that he was a little bit scared or a little bit shy or nervous. His room was as dirty as a pigsty. So here's our second simile. As dirty as a pigsty is the sty, is the place where a pig would live. And you can imagine how dirty a pigsty would be. So his room was just as dirty, and his mom had told him to clean it. He had slept like a log last night. Now this just means that he slept very deeply. But he realized he was late. He would have to get ready as fast as lightning, so he would have to get dressed very quickly, so that he wasn't late for school. Once he had put his new school uniform on, he was as proud as a peacock. So that means that he was quite proud to wear his new uniform. And you can just imagine if he put it on and he stood in front of the mirror, he would be very proud of how he looked in his new uniform. It was his first day at his new school, and he was going to be as brave as a lion. And there you can see our next simile. Remember in the beginning of the story, it said that he was as frightened as a mouse. So maybe he was a bit nervous, but he decided he was going to be brave on his first day. Mark's new teacher was as wise as an owl. So she was a very wise teacher. She made good choices or good decisions. She told the class that they would have to be as quiet as a mouse while she was teaching. So she told her class that they had to be very quiet while she was teaching. And usually most teachers would say this. That day, Mark was as busy as a bee in his class. And he must have been very busy on his first day at his new school. Imagine what your first day was like. It was probably very busy. He loved his first day of school. So here you can see we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 similes in our story. And those similes helped us to imagine what Mark's first day was like. So grade 3s, I hope you've enjoyed learning all about similes today and something new and creative. And I hope that you're going to try and use as much of these in your stories as you can. Or maybe you might come across one that we haven't read today or learned about. Maybe you can ask mommy or daddy what those similes might mean. Now I hope you've had a lovely time learning and that you have a lovely afternoon further. And until the next time that we can learn together, goodbye grade 3s. And this lesson was brought to you by WorksheetCloud.